interfacing memory and parallel I/O peripherals to programmable DSP. In continuation with that, we are going to discuss about synchronous serial interface and codec interface unit. So, in order to have a interfacing process, we require some interfacing devices and interfacing connectors so that we can connect the DSP device to any peripherals so that we can easily interface and we can work on it. So coming to this serial interface, first let us look into the parallel peripheral interface. So if I consider a case of parallel peripheral interface, the data word will be transferred with all the bits together. So if I consider a parallel, the data is transferred all together. And in addition to this parallel peripheral interface, there is also a need of interfacing serial peripherals. So normally we go with the process of parallel peripheral interface process or serial interface peripherals. And the DSP what we are using as a TMS320 device, so that has a provision of interfacing serial devices along with the parallel interface. Then coming to the synchronous serial interface, there are certain I/O devices which can handle transfer of one bit at a time. So that is what the serial interface or serial data transfer is considered to be. So we have certain devices which is supporting this serial interface process, whereas the transfer of one bit is done at a time. So that is a serial transfer what we are going to consider. And these devices which are supporting this serial transfer of data are serial I/O devices or peripherals. So that is what we have. And whenever we have a communication done with this serial peripherals, it can be synchronous uh, and with the processor clock as a reference, or even it can be asynchronous process. But normally when we go with the communication with the serial peripherals, it can be synchronous as well as it can be asynchronous process in the communication between the peripherals and the DSP device. And the serial synchronous interface, it can have a communication which is a faster compared to parallel communication or parallel data transfer. So in comparison with that, serial communication is quite faster. And whenever I consider a synchronous serial interface, that is faster compared to asynchronous mode of communication. That is bit lower compared to this synchronous interface. And however, if I compare it with just parallel peripheral interface, wherein the data is transferred simultaneously or at a time, it is going to transfer the data at a time, all the data at a time, whereas in SSI it is very slow. So it is serial data transfer which takes place, hence it is very slow compared to parallel interfaces. But whenever I compare synchronous and asynchronous with respect to serial communication process, then the synchronous communication is quite faster compared to asynchronous mode of communication. So that is what we can consider. And also the time normally we consider the transfer time, or what we can consider as a how much data can be transferred within this particular time interval. So if I consider that time, the time taken normally depends on the number of bits in the data. So if the number of bits are more, then the time taken for the transferring the data will be quite high. So that normally depends on the number of bits. Then that is about the serial interface process, and considering that in relation with parallel interfaces, and distinguishing between the serial and parallel in terms of its speed and in terms of its time taken to transfer the data, as well as synchronous and asynchronous data transfer or communication process, which may contribute in a communication between a DSP and the peripherals. So we have discussed that. The next what we have is codec interface circuit. So codec is, in short, we call it as codec, and it is a coder decoder, which is an example for the previously discussed synchronous serial communication, that is serial I/O. So that is synchronous communication what we come across, and the codec will consist of ADC and DAC, and it has got analog input and output, and the signals which are discussed in this serial interface, which are generated by the DSP device, are DX. First signal, if I consider DX, it is data transmit to the codec. So data transmission is done using this signal DX, and the data transfer is done to a codec, a coder decoder circuit, followed by a signal DR, so which is used to receive the data from a codec. So data received from a codec. Then CLKX, it is used to transmit the data with this clock reference. So it acts as a clock along with that which can transmit the data. So normally we consider it as synchronous, so we require a clock reference for both transmission and reception of a data. So the next one is CLKR, which is receive data with this clock reference. So we have transmitted data and receive data with a clock reference. Similarly, a data transmit signal and a data receive signal to a codec and from a codec. FSX, so frame signal for transmitting, which is a sync signal. So frame sync signal for transmit, which is represented as FSX. FSR, frame sync signal for receiving. So these are the 6 signals what we come across in a codec interface circuit. And if I consider the frame to be sent or frame to be received, then for the first bit during the transmission or reception, it is to be in sync with these signals. So we have 6 signals which are highlighted here. Then RRDY, that is an indicators after the transmission or reception, along with the synchronizing the clock, or along with the clock synchronization. So RRDY, which is an indicator for receiving all the bits of a data. So whatever indicator is given in terms of received all the bits of a particular data, if it is going to be transferred, and it is going to be received at the destination, then it's an indicator which indicates that whether all the bits is received or not. So that depends on RRDY. Then XRDY, so it is an indicator for transmitting all the bits of a data. So this is what we have in terms of the signals representing the signal transmission or the data transfer, data reception, clock synchronization, and indicators for receiving and transmitting the data. So R represents the received data bits, and X represents the transmitted data bits, and these two are the signals which are acting as an indicators for receiving as well as transmitting the bits of a data. And similarly, along with this, the signals are frame sync signal and data received from the DSP and data transmitted to the DSP. So these are the two signals which are used in related to a DSP processor. So we have D in or data in, that is we are going to send the data from a DSP to a particular peripheral. So it is data received from the DSP, and D out, it is a data transmit to the DSP. Then SCLK is nothing but transmitting or receiving the data with this clock reference. So this is what we consider as SCLK. We are going to transmit or receive the data with its clock reference. So that is what we consider here, SCLK. So transmitter or receiver data with this clock reference. And coming to this, the block diagram we just look into for a TMS320C54 processor for a codec. So as considered a part of a codec, only one signal is available on codec, that is for a clock and frame synchronization. So that the DSP signals, which means that the signals which are generated by the DSP device are connected together to a clock and frame sync signals on a codec. So that is what we are supposed to have. Since we have only signal which is available on a codec for clock and frame synchronization, the DSP side signal are nothing but the signals which are generated by the DSP device. They are connected together to a clock and frame sync signals on a codec. So that is what we are supposed to have for a codec in the form of the synchronization of a. Then coming to the diagram, that is the serial interface between a DSP and a codec. So if I just look into this, we can see that there are timings specified for the transmission and reception of a data through the serial communication process. So if I go with this, we can see that there is a TMS 320C54 device, which is a DSP device, and that is connected to a codec. And we can see that these are the signals available, that is DX, DR. So one is for the transmit and one is for a receive. And clock for a transmitting and reception, we can see that indicated as CLKX and CLKR for transmission and reception. And synchronization of a clock SCLK signal is also being considered in a codec, which is the interface between the DSP and the codec, and FSX and FSR. So that is a signal what we have come across in the previous for read and write for a frame synchronization or frame what we are going to send and receive. Then D in and D out. So D in and D out of the data which are transmitted in the form of a data to a particular device or transmitted out of a data to a particular device. So that is what we consider. And if I go with the timing, receive timing for serial interface is specified here. You can see that the first part refers to the clock, so clock receive, and the second part refers to FSR, and third refers to DR, data receive, and RR device, so ready signal. So these are the signals which are required for understanding the process of signal or a data which is received whenever we use a process of SSI, that is the serial interface process. So this is the diagram which is indicating the timings and a physical representation of connecting a TMS 320 with their signals connected to a codec device. So this is what we consider. Then, so if I go with the previous diagram, so let us see what is explained actually here. As shown, the receiving or transmitting activity is initiated at the rising edge of the clock. So that is normally known whenever there is a clock considered, we can see that there is a rising edge of a clock and falling edge of a clock. Normally, if I go with the positive edge or rising edge of the clock, there is a process which is being initiated, either a transmission or reception activity, or transmission or reception of a data is initiated at the rising edge of the clock. And these two are the signals based on which we can identify whether the signal is transmitting or whether the signal is receiving. So that is clock R and clock S. Clock R refers to the clock which is reading the receiving the data, or clock X to transmit the particular data. And then reception or transfer start after FSR or FSX remains. high for one clock cycle. So that is to be noted. If I consider receiving data or transferring the data, so that is after it has to start after FSR or FSX status, which is high or low. If it remains high for one clock cycle, then I can say that either the signal is indicating that the data is received or the data is to be transferred or data is transmitting. Then RRDY and XRDY, it is initially high and it goes low to high after the completion of a data transfer. So normally it is high and it will change its state from low to high, that is from 0 to 1 after the completion of a data transfer process. So that is what we consider in terms of these three sets of signals. One is clock receive and transmit, one is ready for transmission and reception, and the other is start or the synchronism for reception and transmission of a data. So that is what we consider. And each transfer of bit requires one clock cycle. So for one clock cycle, one bit is transferred. So for one clock cycle, one bit is transferred. So that is what we consider. So the time required to transfer or receive the data depends on the number of bits in the data word. So normally when we consider a transfer of a data which may be a smaller set of data, then the time required to transfer those set of data or the time required to receive those set of data is very less. Similarly, if I go with a data which is having whose size is very high, it means that the data is having more number of bits in it. It means that the time required to transfer this data in a data word depends on the number of bits in the data word. So if the number of bits in the data words are more and more, then the time required to transfer this data will be very high, and also the time required to receive this data is also very high, and that depends on the number of bits. So it is time is directly proportional to the number of bits in the data word. So if I consider more time is being used to transfer the data or receive the data, it means that it clearly indicates that the number of bits in the data words are very high or more in numbers. So an example of data word of 8 bits, you can see that with a diagram. So this is what transmit timing for SSI is considered with respect to a clock, then FS signal, DX signal, and XRDY. So we can see that whenever there is a change uh, in the clock from positive to or during the rising edge, we can see that the data is transferred. So we can see that normally it is A1, A0, etc., and B7, B6, B5, B4, B0 till B0, C7 to C3, etc. So these are the data these are the bits in a data which are being received or which are being transmitted. So normally in this diagram we can see that these are the four signals wherein all these operations are done with respect to the clock or in synchronization with the clock it is done. Then coming to the block diagram of codec PCM 3002, we can see that we have the input in the form of analog signal. So analog signal is an input, so it is fed to the analog front end. We can have two different channels, LCH, that is left channel, and RCH, that is right channel input. So we have two different inputs as a channel specified here. One is for left, one is for right. Then we can see that there are modulators used. One is delta sigma modulator. So modulation is done using this delta sigma modulator, and the modulated signal is decimated or it is fed to a decimation filter where the sampling rate of that signal is going to be reduced. So decimation is nothing but a decrease in the sampling rate of a set of samples specified by dropping the samples. So by dropping number of samples, we can decimate the signal. So that is the process of decimation filter. and that is fed to serial interface and mode control unit, which is giving us two different signals in the form of a digital signal, which is digital out to a serial interface, and for mode control we are using one more as an output, which is digital in. And we have other two signals, which are the signals fed to the serial interface and mode control unit. That is system clock, which is normally required in synchronization with the data transfer, and serial mode control. So that is what we require for the serial signal transmission or serial communication process. And similarly, we are going to do the reverse process when we go with the destination part. So earlier what we have discussed in terms of three different blocks, they are the blocks involved in during the process of transmission, and this is a block involved during the process of reception. So the digital interpolation. So in the case of interpolation filter, whatever signal we are going to feed to an interpolation filter, it is nothing but increasing the sampling rate of such filter by introducing some set of samples into the given set of samples. So earlier we have decreased the sampling rate, now we are going to increase the sampling rate by passing it to a filter, which is an interpolation filter. And the process of increasing the sampling rate is nothing but interpolation process. So we have already discussed this, what is decimation, what is interpolation, and how the decimation is done by removing the samples, and how the interpolation is done by introducing more number of samples into the samples where the interpolation has to happen. Similarly, the interpolated output sequence is fed to a modulator, which is a multi-level delta signal modulator. And once the signal is modulated here, it is fed to a filter. So that is LPF or low pass filter and output buffer. So the filter is going to remove the unwanted components, or used to filter out the unwanted components, which is obtained during the process of decimation, interpolation, and modulation process. And finally, we get the output in the form of two different channels for left and right of the codec PCM 3002. So we can go with the explanation here as well. Figure shows the block diagram of PCM codec. Analog front-end sample signal is at 64x over the sampling rate. It eliminates the need for sample and hold circuit and simplifies the need for anti-aliasing filter. So normally when we go with the process of sampling, we come across the usage of sample and hold circuit, where the signal is sampled and it is hold, or it is held for certain interval of time, then a value is assigned to a particular set of samples. So which is normally a process of quantization. So that is, quantized values are assigned to a particular set of samples. So that process is quantizing a sample. So that is eliminated in this. Usage of sample and hold circuit is eliminated so that it can simplify the anti-aliasing filter needs. And analog to digital conversion is based on delta sigma modulator, so which can be used to convert an analog signal into a digital form. Then decimation filter, as I already told, it reduces the sampling rate, and thus processing does not need high-speed devices. So why the sampling rate is reduced? In order to consider the devices which can be operated like no need of using high speed devices. So it can operate with low speed devices as well. So we are going to use a decimation filter to reduce the sampling rate. So the main idea of reducing the sampling rate is the processing do not require any high speed devices, because whenever we go with high speed devices, again the cost of implementation is more, and the complexity of those devices or circuits is going to be more complicated, or complexity is going to be more. So DAC is digital to analog conversion, and it is delta sigma modulator, which is going to convert digital signal to analog signal. So there is other process what we come across uh, during the later stage of this codec. we are going to convert the digital signal to analog signal. And coming to the other part of the process, we had a process called as interpolation discussed. So interpolation is going to increase the sampling rate back to the original values. Then low pass filter, so that is the end of that codec process. Low pass filter smoothens the analog reconstructed signal by removing high frequency components. So it is a known process of a low pass filter. The main idea of using a low pass filter is to remove the high frequency components. So in order to properly reconstruct the signal what we have sent or what we have fed to a particular circuit, so we are going to reconstruct it by using a filter by removing the high frequency components which acts as an unwanted component in the process. Then the serial interface monitors serial data transfer. So that is another thing what we have already come across, and it accepts built-in ADC output and converts it to a serial data. So that is the other process and transmits the same on D out. So that is what we come across. It also accepts the serial data on D in and gives the same to a DAC. The serial interface works in synchronization with BLK DIN and LRC in. Then the mode control initializes the serial data transfer. So this is what the signals what we come across in the codec and DAC circuit. So serial data is on DIN or DIN and gives the same to a DAC process. And the other is the serial interface which is in synchronization with BLK, sorry, BCLK in and LRC in. So these are the interface signals what we use, and it sets all the desired modes, the number of bits and the mode control signals, so MD, MC, ML, MD, etc. So these are the signals what we come across, and MC refers to the mode clock signal, so that is what we are going to use in this process. MC is the mode clock signal, and to MD, so to be loaded, is sent with a reference to this clock. So it is a reference signal sent, and ML is the mode load signal. So whatever we want to load using this, we are going to use a ML, which is a load signal. Then it defines the start and end of the latching bits into a codec device. So normally when we go with the process, we have a process of starting and we have a process of ending it. So here we are going to use it in a codec device which defines start and end of the latching bits depending on these two signals what we have highlighted here as MD and ML. Then figure shows the interfacing of PCM 3002 codec to a DSP in a DSK kit. So whenever we want to connect a DSP to this PCM 3002, it has to be connected through a interface which is MCBSP2. So that is a port which can be connected to the HPI, that is host peripheral interface. So that is what we might have studied or we have studied in module 3 or module 4. Maybe the usage in module 4. So the same port can be connected to HPI. Then we are using a multiplexer, and this multiplexer is going to select one among these two based on CPLD signal. So CPLD signal is used to select. So CPLD signal is a signal which acts as a selection signal. So multiplexer will select this uh, signal based on which we can identify which type of transfer has to be done. So CPLD in interface also provides a system clock for a DSP and for codec. So that is CPLD signal and mode control signals for codec. So this is about the CPLD and a codec, control signals for a codec. Then CPLD generates two signals which are required for the serial interfacing process, that is PCLK in and LRC in. So these are the signals which are generated by the CPLD device here, which are mainly required for serial interfacing. So whenever we want to connect a DSP to The PCM 3002, that is a codec, we have to have a interface and connected between the DSP and the codec. And the DSP is in a DSK, we are going to use it, and the same can be connected using the host peripheral interfaces port. And this is the interface of a DSP in DSK. We can see that. So there is a CPLD available, there is a TMS320 device available, and the codec unit available, and which is referred as PCM3002, and it has got a mux or multiplexer which is going to select a signal which is generated by the CPLD. And we can have the data in, data out, and the signals LRSIN and BCLK in, which is generated by the CPLD device, and the system clock signal, and these three signals ML, MC, and MD, which are the signals for the control, which are the signals acting as a control interfacing signals between a device, that is a DSP or a CPLD, with the PCM 3002. And along with this, we have a clock which is 12.288 megahertz. So that is a clock frequency which is generated by this particular device. So that is what we use in this, and that is the interface what we can see here. And PCM 3002 will handle the data size of 16 or 20 bits. So that is the data size which can handle by this codec, 16 or 20 bits. And it has 64 oversampling, 64x or 64 times oversampling, and it has got delta to sigma A to D converter and D to A converter. So it has got ADC and DAC in it, along with the sampling process or sample circuit. It will have a process of modulator using delta sigma modulators, which is normally used to convert the analog to digital. Analog to digital conversion is done, and digital to analog conversion is done. Then it has two channels, left and right, which we have already discussed, represented as LCH for left channel and RCH for right channel. So coming to the next, the codec is programmable for digital de-emphasis and digital attenuation. So these are the applications where we can use the codec along with the DSP interface. Soft mute, digital loop back, and power down mode. So this is an example of applications which can be considered in a codec. Then system clock of codec can be 256 femtoseconds, 384 femtoseconds, and 512 femtoseconds. So that is very small. So normally we come across microseconds or nanoseconds. So it is still with a very small system clock available, and internal clock is always 256 fs for converters and digital filter. So this is about internal clocks available. And D in and D out is a single line data line which can carry the data into the codec and from the codec. So these are the two signals what we already dealt regarding the input and output data from and to a codec, or from and to a DSP device in a DSK. So that is what we used. And another signal, BCLK in, is a data bit clock. So this is the input to the clock what we use, and the default value of which is codec system clock /4. So this is a signal which is available as a default value for a codec. And LRCIN is a frame sync signal for left and right channels. So this is what we consider in terms of frame sync signal, that is LRC in for left and right channel. Since we have two channels here, we are going to use as the signals for sync signals for left and right channels for the purpose of communication. Then the frequency of this signal is same as the sampling frequency. So this is what we use. The frequency of this particular signal is same as the sampling frequency. Then the default divide factor can be 2, 4, 6, or 8. Now this is the default divide factor which can be 2, 4, 6, or 8. Then the sampling rate is minimum of 6 kilohertz and maximum of 48 kilohertz. So whenever I go with the process of sampling, there should be a sampling rate which is fixed for that sampling process, because whenever we go with the proper sampling rate selection, then it should be in par with the frequency component, which is the highest frequency component in the signal. So depending on that, the sampling rate is selected, and in this case, the sampling rate is minimum and it is 6 kilohertz, and also it can be maximum till 48 kilohertz. So that is what we consider the sampling rate as minimum, which is which can be up to 6K and maximum of 48K. So these are the signals what we use in a codec for like applications like programming, programmable for digital de-emphasis circuits, digital attenuations, then soft mute, digital loopback, and power down mode. So this is programmable. The codec is programmable with all these process, and we have a system clock specified with a very small value of clock value specified, and internal clock is also very lesser for converter or digital filters. Normally here we use two types of conversion to be done, either from analog to digital using ADC, or from digital to analog using DAC, and also the digital filters. So even the filters which are used here are low pass filter, which is going to filter out the components which are not required for a process during the process of conversion. So that is been removed, and D in and D out are the single line data lines to carry the data in a codec and from a codec. So here we have two different data lines used, D in and D out, which can carry the data into the codec and which can carry the data from a codec. So that we can easily connect a codec to a DSP in a DSK, or the same thing can be used from a DSP connected to a codec. So either the signals are referred with respect to a codec connected to a DSP, or it can be DSP connected to a codec. And another signal what we have is a BCLK in, which is acting as a data bit clock, and the default value of this is 4, which is specified along with the signal identified for a codec using SYS CLK, that is system clock, and the value by default is 4. And LRC in is a frame signal which is for left and right channels. Normally we have two different channels specified here during the process of inputting a signal to the system, that is left channel and right channel. So we have a signal LRC in. So left, right, C in, codec in. So which is selecting the channels, either left or right. Then the frequency of this particular signal will be same as the sampling frequency what we are going to select for the process of sampling in the entire process. Then the default divide factor can be 2, 4, 6, or 8. So this is the divide factor used normally with the frequency divider. We have a process of dividing a process of this signal frequency, so that the default divider factor, we have a factor for that frequency dividing factor, and it is in the order of 2, 4, 6, or 8. And the sampling rate for the entire process is 6 kilohertz, which is a minimum, and 48 kilohertz, which is maximum kept or used in the process of sampling this. So this is about the serial synchronous interface process and the codec interface circuit to a DSP in a DSK kit. So these are the two topics which are identified as the uh, interfacing or communication done between a codec and a DSP device in a DSK kit. So this will conclude this particular session here.